$190,000.
That was dismissed, and there was no actual that counterclaim because they didn't show up in court. So it will take. I'm predicting another 30 days before the marshals will call me to schedule a time for me to have 5 people here to move everything from there to the street. I did get a writ of possession on Friday.
About a year ago, Atlanta police visited the area where activists said about 24 of them were detained.
The entire medical staff of Stop Cop City camped on this land, and there's about 30 campers. And the police came in and pulled them out of their tents. I'm neutral. I'm not on either side.
Moore says he just wants everyone off his land so he can clean it up to build affordable housing.
We're going to build just a big fence here and a gate here and put no trespassing signs. I'm not going to build it until all the tenants are out and, I start getting this place cleaned up.
In Atlanta, Mary Smith, Fox 5 News.
All right, Mary, thanks so much. Charlotte posted a viral video online telling other illegal immigrants that they can legally expropriate the homes of Americans through our squatter rights laws. Now, the issue of squatter rights has been growing in the U.S. as several states allow people to live rent-free in homes, and the homeowners can't do anything about it in most cases.
Yeah.
This is New York Post. It says, a migrant TikToker with a 500,000-strong online following is offering his comrades tips on how to invade unoccupied homes and invoke squatters' rights in the United States. Venezuelan national Leonel Moreno, who appears to live in a suburb of Columbus, Ohio, said in a recent video that under U.S. law, quote, if a house is not inhabited, we can seize it. And appeared to be referring to adverse possession laws, commonly known as squatters' rights, which allow unlawful property occupants' rights over the property they occupy without the owner's consent in certain circumstances.
Take one person's property, give it to another.
Viral TikTok video clip, which has drawn more than 3.9 million views, that he has African friends who have already taken about 7 homes. Let me show you. Let me play you some of this. You can get an idea of what he's saying.
Mi gente, he pensado invadir una casa en United States. Ya que me enteré que existe una ley que dice que si una casa no está habitada, podemos expropiarla.
Yeah, so what do you think of your new neighbor? Look, the benefits are pretty high also.
Yeah, think about your new neighbors.
You can steal just about any home this way, as long as it's not, or even snagging mansions in extremely wealthy areas, even like Beverly Hills, for example, is not safe from this. New York Post noted that with basketball icon LeBron James recently erecting a lavish abode and power couple Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck dropping a cool $61 million on a compound last year, it seems the epitome of exclusivity, this area. And it notes that in Beverly Hills in California, Morgan Gargulio, an aspiring actor, spearheaded the operation, fabricating a false lease to establish his claim over a mansion without facing any legal repercussions, according to this. It notes that he seized a 5,900 square foot property, which had been on sale since last August for $4.6 million. And, he assumed was fair game. It says here that this individual infiltrated what's often dubbed the most exclusive zip code in America, that being 90210. And his makeshift empire, it says, accommodated not only him, but also his fiancée and rotating cast of friends. He even turned a profit by renting out bedrooms at rates from $150 to $300 per night, although without providing lodging, it claims. Now look, it's not just wealthy people being targeted through these squatter rights. Because you could say, oh, well, yeah, those Beverly Hills, actors and so on, whatever. But it's actually anybody who tries renting a home. In fact, if you are selling your home and you put a for sale sign out front, that alone, in some instances, is being looked for by potential squatters for houses to occupy forever. It notes here that Hot Air says, Adele Andaloro grew up in her family's home in Flushing, in the Flushing neighborhood of Queens in New York City. And it said recently, after her parents passed away, she inherited the $1 million property, which is frankly most properties these days in New York. When they left it to her in their will, she dutifully went about preparing the house for sale and put it up on the market. That's when everything began to go sideways, because what happened? It says 3 squatters broke into the home at night and set up residence, causing significant damage to the building and removing the for sale sign from the yard. When the woman found out, she returned and changed the locks, seeking to have them removed. But the level of insanity in this story, it says, only increased when the police responded by arresting her instead of the squatters. In other words, folks, not only can they seize your home, but if you try to kick them out, including by changing the locks, you could be the one going to jail for it. Said there are some ways people are fighting back against this. Take what's happening in California. Look, depending the state you're in, you're pretty limited on what you can do about it. In California, though, there's now a business around kicking squatters off of people's properties. They've made a business out of evicting people through unconventional means, let's call it. Red State says it's called Squatter Squad, and according to the group's website, it says Squatter Squad is a one-of-a-kind business in Southern California. We are not an eviction service because that would be illegal. They said we have our own proprietary process for getting squatters out fast. Going through the eviction process can stretch into weeks and months, costing you time and money. While at the same time, these squatters are most likely damaging your property, causing even more anguish and expense. So basically what this group does is they use the squatter rights system against the squatters. Because, hypothetically speaking, if someone could just move into a house and claim they have the right to live there without paying rent, then why not just squat in the squatter house and then make their lives miserable enough that they want to move out all by themselves, right? Another thing he does is because he says a lot of them are felons, people who are squatting and so on, is he'll bring a firearm with him. And he'd be like, hey, I think we can call the police right now. You're in a home with a firearm. You're going to jail if they come here. I'm not. And oftentimes they leave based on that. Now, look, I run the problem, though. If people can just move into our homes and say, hey, we can live here without paying any rent, we can live here without doing anything, then what about legal homeowners having to pay things like property taxes? Could I, for example, legally squat in my own home? Or would the government be able to enforce the law in that case, right? If you own a home, can you, just enact squatter rights in your own home and not pay rent? How does that work? How does it work if the bank comes after you, right? How does it work if you tell the bank, hey, I'm squatting here, you can't do anything about it? Can they then kick you out? Well, this is going to be the issue we're going to be running into very soon if this issue becomes much broader, because people will find other ways to enact it. And frankly, I doubt that they would be letting people violate it if it got to that level. Now, look, as this happens, of course, Democrats are pushing for more funding to facilitate mass illegal immigration. Not only that, every state Democrat just voted against stopping the use of taxpayer money to fly illegal aliens en masse into the United States, literally by the hundreds of thousands.
Freedom is not for those who seek better lives here, but who follow a path to legally live, work, and come here. And how will these policies impact current residents? Most of the immigrants crossing won't have the documentation to work above board, and we can assume most will be beholden to one cartel or another. No doubt many will be forced into sex and drug trafficking. Laken Riley was a 22-year-old nursing student at the University of Georgia. Her suspected attacker and murderer, Jose Antonio Ibarra, is an illegal immigrant who entered the U.S. in 2022, was arrested in New York for injuring a child, as well as a motor violation. But, due to New York's sanctuary city laws, was freed before ICE could request custody of him. He then fled to Georgia, where his brother had forged documents which enabled him to wash dishes at UGA, in between being arrested numerous times over the past year, of course. 3 days later, the White House issued a statement saying, quote, people should be held accountable. Oh, we agree, Joe. Who do you think that should be? Exactly. In Maryland, another illegal immigrant who'd been arrested and released multiple times over the past year has been arrested again over the murder of a 2-year-old. The border crisis and the government's handling of it have created a tenuous situation. Has control of the southern border been ceded to the cartels? The fact that many believe so highlights the need for a much more transparent, secure, and law-abiding immigration system in the United States. When people are being violently manipulated,
But Joe Biden doesn't want that.
The well-being of anyone? It's time for stronger leadership and a set of solutions that benefits all parties involved. Are you a citizen? Could you use $10,000? Let us know. And the U.S. grapples with the critical question, can we successfully integrate this influx of immigrants, or are we headed straight for cultural fragmentation and societal collapse? Well, a clue may be in our past. America does have a rich history of welcoming and assimilating immigrants from all corners of the globe, transforming them into proud, patriotic citizens. But the current wave of immigration does present new challenges, which can't be ignored. During the early 20th century, America embarked on a massive assimilation campaign teaching English and American history to millions of immigrants. This was thanks to a diverse coalition of private organizations, religious groups, educators. But in today's polarized political environment, such an initiative seems impossible. Instead of embracing American values, newcomers are now taught to view our nation through a lens of discrimination and oppression, and the consequences are dire. Our public school systems are failing, social services and law enforcement agencies are stretched to the brink, and this comes as the economic burden of supporting a rapidly growing unassimilated population continues to mount. We must learn from our past and recommit ourselves to the principles of e pluribus unum, out of many, one. We must demand our elected officials encourage social assimilation and reject the siren call for cultural isolationism, because the future of our nation depends on it.
State of Florida ending the squatter scam once and for all.
The bill is aimed at increasing penalties for squatting. It will also make it faster and easier for property owners to evict them. DeSantis said that eviction was often an expensive and drawn-out process, but the new law will guarantee a swift removal once residents verify their legal ownership. The rights of squatters differ from state to state. Recently in New York City, a homeowner was arrested after she changed the locks on her home to keep squatters out. This new bill in Florida was passed unanimously in Florida's legislature and is set to take effect on July 3rd.
All the laws need to be abolished on squatting.
For original news coverage, visit us at ntd.com or download our NTD app.